Welcome back to Perks Recap, back at it once again. We're hitting the Animals today for the first time on the channel. This is House of the Rising Sun. It's their most famous song. I'm positive I've heard it before. I can't recall exactly what it's like. I'm sure as it plays, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I remember now. But anyway, let's just dive right into this. Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Here we go.
In New Orleans, they call the rising sun, and it's been the ruin of many a poor boy. And God, I know I'm one.
Alright, couple things. First of all, sorry for the yawn. It's very early in the morning. I'm just now waking up. But anyway, this is actually, the reason why I'm doing this is part of the chronological order that Steve Hannum has given us over the last few months here for a while now. And I will have all the other chronological orders in the description below if you want to check them out. There's Cream is in there. There's a few others. A bunch of others, actually. A bunch of Clapton is in there. So it's the history of the guitar, chronological order, and we got up to the late 60s, and we're about to hit Jimi Hendrix. But the story of Jimi Hendrix that Steve gave me is that Jimmy, I'm going off what he sent me, Jimmy's played various backing bands in the early 60s around the U.S. club circuit, and the girlfriend of Keith Richards from the Rolling Stones told a guy called Chas Chandler about Jimmy. Chas Chandler's in the Animals. He's the bass player. He's the one right now who's standing in the back behind the keyboard player. He was third in line the whole time. And Chas Chandler is very important to the development of Jimmy in the bringing him to the forefront. He was the bass player. Yeah. Chandler persuaded Jimmy to come to England. And basically, that's where he got his blues roots and started to understand different aspects of the music. And he touted Jimmy around the various London clubs where Jimmy would sit in and jam with whoever was playing. He even got him a gig with Cream, and Cream was blown away by him. And as the years went on, people would go to see him. Just to see how, because everybody was talking about this great guitar player that was out there, and the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, the Who, Cream, Jeff Beck, many more would all go just to see Jimmy play. And then he came back to the United States, and the reason, so basically, Chas Chandler is kind of like the reason why how Jimmy got started, and really helped him move along, get to England, got him back to the United States. And he's instrumental in development of Jimi Hendrix. And we might not even know about Jimi Hendrix if it wasn't for Chas Chandler. So we're going to get into Jimi Hendrix next on the chronological order, but as just a little bit of a, since he's so important to Jimmy, we did one Animals video first, and this, of course, is their most famous song. I do definitely recognize it as it's going. I'm remembering. I'm like, oh yeah, kind of like what I thought. But anyway, that's a little bit of the backstory. Chas Chandler, the bass player of the Animals, and in many ways responsible for the Jimi Hendrix that we all know and love. All right, here we go.
Children not to do what I have done. Spend your lives in sin and misery in the house of the rising sun.
There you have it, the Animals, House of the Rising Sun. Definitely knew the song. I haven't heard it in a long, long time. Obviously, I kind of think the way I listen to music now is different from back then anyway. So this was really interesting to me. First and foremost, the quality of the video. They said it was HQ. They're not kidding. That was high quality. In 1964, that was, my goodness, that looked crisp, clean. That looked really, really good. Anyway, I want to thank Steve Hannum for the suggestion. Obviously, this is part of the chronological order. All the other chronological orders that I've done, history of the guitar, are going to be in the description below. There's a lot of Cream in there. A lot of Clapton is in there. There's a whole list of things that I've done already. Rolling Stones is in there. So check that out. This is part of it. Next, we're going to be moving to Jimi Hendrix. And we just had a little bit of a detour here with Chas Chandler and the Animals. Welcome detour, though, because I really enjoyed that. Hopefully you did too. It's just funny. Steve Hannum, he actually thinks, he believes that, and I think he's correct, that Jimi Hendrix is part of the British invasion. Because he left America with Chas Chandler, who convinced him to go to England. He became like an iconic figure over in England, an iconic guitar player over in England, and then came back in 1967 at the Monterey Pop Festival during the British invasion. That's when all the British bands were coming over. And he was part of that. He came over at that same time, came back over. So, and also there was some blues elements, and blues wasn't really all that well known in England or the United States, just wasn't really popular. It was kind of more of a, black musicians in the South were playing a lot of blues, but it played into Jimmy's style, a lot of their style as well. Blues is a huge, huge influence on all of rock and roll, so obviously. So anyway, he considers Jimi Hendrix as part of the British invasion, and I think he's got a pretty good point because he did come back right around that same time. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one as much as me. I do want to mention real quick, my podcast, the PerksPod, has been renamed I figure I'm just going to go on the name that you guys know from this channel, Perks Recap Podcast. Figure it's a little bit simpler, a little bit more to the point, and a little bit more recognizable. It's going to has the same logo, just with the word podcast at the bottom. I didn't go crazy with that. We're doing a lot of sports. We're getting ready for the NFL season, gearing up for that. There's still some baseball, and then we're talking music as well. Al Hill, who's a subscriber of mine, who comments a lot on a lot of my videos, he's actually joined on the podcast twice now. If you'd like to join, the email is still the same. The email is still perkspod@gmail.com. If you want to join the podcast, you just send an email there. We'll set up a time. We'll get you on the podcast, and we'll have some fun. Anyway, that's going to do it. Hopefully you enjoyed this as much as me. And until next time, I will see you later.